With me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to the command post. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. Of course, I'm your commander-in-chief, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. So Mel Kiper made his first appearance talking about the draft, specifically the number 2 overall pick. Now, he did talk about the quarterback situation at the top of the draft, number 1, number 2, number 3. But all we're really concerned about is the number 2 overall pick. Whatever the Bears decide to do will slightly alter potentially what Washington decides to do. If they decide that they're open for business at 1 and they're deciding to move the pick and they're going to hold on to Justin Fields, that may alter Washington's plans at 1. We'll see. But we can't concern ourselves with what the Bears are going to do or not going to do. We have to be prepared for every and any scenario that can come up in that situation. And so we got to do the homework. We got to do the due diligence, because this is the biggest pick we've made at in the draft since 2012, Robert Griffin III, number 2 overall. So we've got to get this thing right if we want to turn this thing around as quickly as possible. So this isn't something that I normally do. This isn't something that normally piques my interest, but I haven't looked at these quarterbacks yet. So I'm at the mercy of everyone who's already watched these quarterbacks telling me what they've seen and why they would go with one or the other. So I'm going to give you a timeline, because I expect Washington to make a head coaching hire next week once they're able to have a face-to-face interview with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn and Mike McDonald. I think once they're able to talk to those 3 gentlemen in particular, then they're going to make their decision. I think they've already kind of honed in on the guy that they want. If he goes in, crushes the interview, and they feel confident that that's the guy that they're after, I think they're going to put an offer on the table. And if he is interested mutually in Washington, I think we get the deal done with Ben Johnson next week. So that's the goal. That's what I'm assuming. I'm going to start watching the quarterbacks next week. Okay. That week between the championship weekend or Sunday and Super Bowl Sunday, there's a week there where all the off-season draft festivities start to kick off. That's normally when you get the Senior Bowl week. That's normally when you get the NFL awards show and the Pro Bowl and all of that good jazz. And I think while that's all taking place, I'll be in the lab studying these quarterbacks. And the first week of February, I am going to start talking about these quarterbacks, tell you what I've seen, which one piques my interest the most, and we'll go from there. But in the meantime, I haven't watched them yet. So I've got to rely on guys like Mel Kiper Jr. to tell me what they've seen, right? I've been listening to all of you, and you guys have been giving me mixed reviews on all of these quarterbacks. Most of you love Caleb Williams. Some of you don't. But I've heard everything under the sun about both Jayden Daniels and Drake May. And so it's been a mixed bag with both of them. But I want you to take a listen to what Mel Kiper said about the number 2 overall pick and who he thinks the Commanders should and will take at number 2. Now, again, a lot of time. I can't stress this enough. A lot of time between now and the draft. These things are fluid. However, it's always interesting to hear various opinions about these quarterbacks and what they think that the team is going to do at number 2 overall. These are the guys that get paid to do this year round. Like, they watch college football. They break down these prospects. They've been watching these quarterbacks for 2, 3, possibly 4 years at a time. So they're very, very familiar with their game, strengths, weaknesses, things that they can improve upon, things that they have improved upon, etc., etc. I'll tell you something that stood out to me about what Mel Kiper had to say after we take a listen to what it is he had to say. Take a listen to Mel Kiper today talking about what he thinks the Commanders should do and will do at number 2.
We're not going to give you the full 16 picks, Mel, but we will give you number 2, because things get interesting, my friend. The Commanders take a quarterback, but might not be the one that America is thinking. Who you got?
I'm going Jayden Daniels, quarterback from LSU, formerly of Arizona State, who Herm Edwards, who recruited him. I said, give me a cop. He gave me Randall Cunningham, Herm did, who knows Jayden Daniels as well as anybody. Everybody says Lamar Jackson. He went with Randall Cunningham. You look at the skill set field, the dual threat capabilities and the fact that he was aggressive with his throws, aggressive running with the football, yet he didn't turn it over. And that's a tough tap dance to be able to throw 40 touchdowns, 4 picks only, don't turn it over, yet go out there and just let it rip, field. And he would let it rip to Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors has a chance to be a really high pick. Brian Thomas Jr. has a chance to be a mid-first rounder. So he did have 2 great receivers to throw to. But you look at the improvement he showed this year. Look at the touchdowns way up, right? Completion percentage, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was outstanding in 2022. Okay, he did some great things at Arizona State before he came there. He put on a little weight. He was not about a 180, 185 any longer. So I think the fact that Jayden Daniels did what he needed to do this year in terms of adding weight to that frame, improving in all areas to the point field where he went from a 3rd, 4th, 5th round type of pick to a top 5 pick guaranteed, and I think the 2nd pick overall. So when I look at, you mentioned the quarterbacks, okay? Mahomes extending things. Josh Allen being Superman out there. Lamar Jackson being unbelievable doing what he does, okay? Those types of quarterbacks that really, I think when you talk about threatening a defense, stressing a defense, you think you have a defense. You saw Spagnuolo on the sidelines when Josh made that remarkable play, touchdown pass to Shakir, okay? He's just saying, there's nothing else we can do. Just chalk it up to being a great quarterback, Josh. You're great, and then Mahomes, you're great. The great ones make unbelievable plays, okay, that nobody else can. Jayden Daniels showed that capability. That's why I think the dual threat capability that he has, the ability to do things that very few can do, is the reason why I think he could go number 2 overall. And also the fact that Drake May, late in the year, the Virginia, NC State, missing open receivers, not as accurate and precise as he has been and could be in the NFL. So I still love Drake May. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He's going to go, I think, either 2 or 3. But for Jayden, ride that momentum. Look at where he is as a player right now, and look at the league and what those defenses really struggle against. That's a quarterback like Jayden Daniels.
So, obviously, you heard Mel Kiper Jr. Select Jayden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU, the Heisman Trophy winner, as his pick for the Commanders at number 2. And he voiced his opinion as to why. The 40 touchdowns, the 4 interceptions, the remarkable year he put up in the SEC. I put a lot of stock into what conference you play in and the quality of the defenses that you win against. He did it at a high level against the best conference in all of college football. I've still got work to do, obviously, so I can only go off of the, play that I saw from him, watching him in live action. But one thing remains to be seen is what ultimately is the things that the next staff is going to value in a quarterback, right? And so the qualities that Jayden Daniels brings to the table may not be the qualities that they value in a quarterback. I mean, look at Jared Goff, and I'm not saying that that's the kind of quarterback that Ben Johnson wants if he is in fact the next coach here in Washington. But you can't go to the other end of the spectrum any further away from what Jared Goff is than Jayden Daniels, right? They're 2 totally different quarterbacks. And so maybe that's not what Ben Johnson is looking for, right? We'll see. I mean, I find it hard to believe in today's NFL that you're not looking for a mobile quarterback that can extend plays and when things break down can make plays with his legs and get the job done in alternate ways other than just standing in the pocket and delivering the football, which is ultimately what you want as a quarterback. You want your quarterback to be able to process what is going on in front of him quickly and decipher where the ball needs to go and make a quick, accurate decision and a quick, accurate throw. That's what you want. And you want that guy to be able to perform from the pocket. But when things break down, you also want a guy that can be a playmaker. Jayden Daniels checks those boxes. So does Drake May, right? So ultimately, it'll be up to the decision makers and the coaching staff, the GM, the front office. They will have a collaborative, see the buzzword there? Session and meetings, and they will determine what is best for this team moving forward at the number 2 overall pick. The thing I found interesting, and again, I haven't watched yet, but I will be watching those games in particular, is Mel Kiper talked about some of the struggles of quarterback Drake May late in the season this past year against teams like I think he said NC State and UVA. I think he said he missed some easy throws. And so these are things that you're looking for, right? Inconsistencies, things that don't fit the narrative, things that don't jive with what you're looking for at the next level. And so if these are clean pockets and easy throws and they're misses, that's troublesome, right? So again, these are all things that I'll be looking for. But what says you? A lot of you have already watched these quarterbacks. I'm behind the 8 ball, right? I'm not ahead of the game like a lot of you are. I still have work to do, but a lot of you have already done your work. So what says you? You've heard Mel Kiper Jr.'s rationale and what he would do at number 2 if he were the Washington Commanders and what he thinks they're going to ultimately do. What says you? What would you do at number 2? Caleb Williams gone off the board. Bears take him number 1. You've got an option. You're going to take a quarterback, right? Which one are you taking? Jayden Daniels, Drake May? Leave it down in the comment section. Can't wait to read your responses. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on the Command Post. You know what it is. Post up. Take command. Until next time, you guys have a good one. Take care. LouieTeeNetwork.